Welcome to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Edition of The Pulse. It's your most authoritative show on TV. We're live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, Fix the Country campaigners demand an end to what they call years of directionless leadership as they stage their second protest in less than 2 months.
Now, everything I'm from Axim.
Takoradi is the first place that got light, electricity in Ghana. So it cannot be that a region that we actually exploit oil from. This is the region.
We're live in the Western Region capital of Takoradi with sights and sounds for you on The Pulse. Also this afternoon, police in the Northeast region arrest 12 persons suspected to have instigated violence which greeted the announcement of MMDCE nominations on Sunday.
The purpose of this, we are trying our best to make sure that all those people are arrested, they have something to do with the violence that occurred on that day.
Details as local government minister orders a clampdown on troublemakers and an update on police investigations in the Northeast region. Plus, National Peace Council presents report to national security detailing concerns of alleged marginalization of persons from the Volta region by the NPP administration.
That was when we went to present to him a report on the work we've done in the Volta region.
Details of that as we commemorate International Day of Peace. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilo Affordable Safe Sanitation. Remember, we are also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at the Nana Aisha. I'm extremely excited to host you.
Our leaders that have sent some people to come and tell us to fix ourselves, that we have started fixing ourselves. That is why we don't want to make any filth in Takoradi. We are making sure that as we go for this demonstration, we clear every dirt we make here in Takoradi so that we make Takoradi a clean place, as the Kufuor wanted to make Accra the cleanest place. But the fact is, some of the police officers are trying to distract what we are doing. How does Aboboya, which is following us to collect all the trash we are making, becomes a security threat? How does an Aboboya just coming after us, clearing all the trash we are making?
Those are sounds from the Western Regional capital of Takoradi, where the Fix the Country campaigners today staged a street protest demanding yet again a new deal from government. Campaigners say they are tired of years of directionless leadership. The group first staged in the protest here in Accra on Founders Day, August 4, serving notice of other similar demonstrations to press home the demand for better living conditions. Some of the protesters who showed up in Takoradi from various parts of the country have been speaking to us.
Things are not going well. Yeah, things are not going well. Market is not good. Everybody was complaining about money. Everybody was complaining about anything because anything is wrong. So we want the government to fix the system for the country. But it belongs to us. We don't have any place to go. So we want the government to fix our own nation. The Ghana belongs to Ghanaians. It don't belong to any Aboriginal country, any different country. So that's why this morning I'm here.
So what are your expectations this morning?
Well, my expectation is I want the government to fix the system. Only system. But now everything will be fixed. I'm from Axim. I'm from Zimbabwe. I am a brother from Axim. So we came here to make the demonstration. We want people to come to join us.
I'm expecting the people to be out in their numbers to tell the leadership of this country, both past and present, that we are tired of substandard governance, that we are tired of governance that has no plan. We are tired of directionless leadership. We are tired of substandard leadership. We are tired of Amemwo Fo, Amemwo Kankai, for the past 30 years. That is what we are waiting for the youth of Western region to come and tell them. We are telling them that enough of the political pettiness, that the NDC will not continue the projects of MPP out of political pettiness. MPP will not continue the projects of NDC out of political pettiness. Takrady and Western region actually is where Ghana started from. If I say that, right from the time when the white man was coming down through Ayana Takrady Harbor from Liverpool, Takrady is the first place that got light, electricity in Ghana. So it cannot be that a region that we actually exploit oil from. This is the region. When I came here, you can see the level of hopelessness in the eyes of the youth in this region. The youth do not have jobs. The youth have nothing. They don't know where they are going. Education is nothing to write home about. Now there is a insecurity issues on the rise. We've sat here. 4 ladies, 4 of our women were abducted last year. This year, there is another one that a pregnant woman has been held hostage, and the leadership of this country, they are pretending as if they've not heard anything. Now we are going to give a voice to the Takrady people, to the Western region people, to the Sekondi people, to the Inche, Asankragwa, Impo, Wasa, Ekopo, Bodi, Abodi, Abuase. Omunyina, we are expecting them to be here in their numbers to register their displeasure.
I don't want to get any classes. Some people want to get any classes. But I want to talk with you. Now, I don't have a business country. Because it's something illegal. But I don't want to once again. I don't want to go out there. I don't want to know a peaceful. Any place will get a master. Politics, anyone knows them get alive. Any place will get a master. And Nanchain. Bauxite, Bibian Nanchain, Yenya lithium. Lithium, $150 billion US. Why do engagement? Why do engagement? What do you have, Bruni? Say Bruni, in fact, no more 15% for 60 years. 60 years. Oh, Munya Casano. 60 years. Nanadu Bewu, Bawumia John Mahama Bewu. Almost bought a minor bro. Up with intimate away. Menana canceling young or the cat. Yes, American man paying the way I have going to I'm a pen and I go Guinea. I've got catching Guinea for say there should be peace in Guinea. As I said, Papa, who will we say Japan, another we say Japan. What the acha, what the acha? No one else, it is the 7 past 7 hours, Jawama, who may soon. What for plane? As a charter plane, go to Uniana for Abraham to who solve the problem here. Who will go school at Quack, who are better training unemployed graduate association. Yes, Adia Yebisa, the Yebisa, the Cassia, Mama Carquan, deadliest road in Africa. Hey, Accra, Cape Coast Square, a Kunipa chain of Carquan via Africa. When your money here, my MP and NDC, when your money here, 777, and Papa, and you know, yeah, yes, I'm never see any, and now, I'm going to some here, I'm going to some Yandika Quine. Every animal, every Takrady animal, echo, Yandika, ya, pointing in our side. Omukulampuses, no Munnam, because Omutam Monte, but young to Momofono, you're a bread. It must be new Hodamo. Sesara, only a scam, only some mountains, on which them clear for your bread. Everyone to hold my no master of a Cassayan tribe on Mount. Sesara, yes, you have a young hard. It's almost this country, almost this country now. That's the whole my every year.
Nathalia Kwanzaa is our Western Region correspondent. She joins us via Zoom with more. Nathalia, how has today's protest been generally?
Well, Aisha, generally it has been peaceful, except when we go to the Takrady Technical Junction, where these protesters wanted to use the route to Efiekuma, which the police said that they had not agreed on that route. And then when we got to Sekondi, the protesters wanted to use another route, which the police also denied them because they said when they came to sit down with their leadership, that was not the route they took. That was
Inathalia Kwanzaa is our woman in the Western region. She's been monitoring today's Fix the Country protest for us, and she's telling us more about exactly what these protesters are demanding. Inathalia, if you're back, tell me about that clash between protesters and the police.
Yeah, so Aisha, I was saying that when we got to the Takoradi Technical University Junction, the protesters wanted to use a route there to Efiekuma, a place in Takoradi where you have a lot of people over the day, you know, going about their activities. But the police told the demonstrators that that was not part of the route they had told them earlier prior to this demonstration. So there was some kind of disturbances between them, but that was just for a while. When we got to Second D, the protesters again wanted to use a different route. And the police again stood on their feet and told them that, look, when you came to meet the leadership of the Western Regional Police Command, we gave you a route of which you agreed. And so we don't think that you should do otherwise. So that was when they had these issues or disturbances coming in. But it was also settled within some few minutes.
So Inathalia, specifically, we hear these protesters talk about directionless leadership, and they're asking leaders to fix the country. But specifically, what are their demands?
Well, Aisha, they are demanding that the 1992 Constitution should be scrapped off for a new constitution to be instituted. They are demanding that there should be employment for the youth, especially when you come to the Western region. They made demands such as the oil companies coming in where you have most of the youth not being employed, which they say that these youths are qualified for. They are making demands for fixing of roads in the Western region, school buildings and other things. So these are some of the major demands they are making. And they said policies which are not favorable for the youths.
So what's next for the group? Do you know, Inathalia?
Yes, Aisha, they said from here, they had already said in Accra that the Accra demonstration was a curtain raiser. So from here, Takoradi, they are going to other regions. What they want from other regions is that the youth come out in their numbers, the people come out in their numbers and come and support this cause. Because for them, it's not about politics, but it's about the well-being of the country and the whole of everyone in the country. So they need massive support in their next demonstration, which they would organize in other regions.
And Inathalia, let me also pick your thoughts from Takoradi away from the protesters, because we're hearing that a 28-year-old pregnant woman, Josephine Simons, who was reported to have gone missing on Thursday, September 16 in Takoradi, has been found in the bush at Axim by a carpenter. I mean, what more can you tell us about this?
Yes, Aisha. So I spoke to a relative who confirmed that the woman has been found, but the Western Region Police Command is yet to confirm because they had been with the Fix the Country people. So we are still waiting for them to confirm. According to this relative, she said that last week, that was on the 16th of September, when the woman went missing after her routine jogging or exercise from the Amano Road to Pargrants Road.
Inathalia Kwanzaa is a woman in the Western region, Takoradi to be precise. She earlier told us about the protest earlier on by the Fix the Country campaigners, and she's giving us an update on the pregnant woman who got missing last week. Inathalia, if you're back on, just give me that update on the pregnant woman.
Sure, Aisha. So last week, according to the relative, when the woman went missing or kidnapped, they received a call from an unknown person who said that they wanted to use her for something, but they couldn't, so they have dumped her somewhere. According to the relative, they instituted a search party for her, and that was from last week, Thursday, after they told they had the call. An unconfirmed report is that when they saw her, she has given birth, but her baby is not with her. And then she is kind of silent. She's not able to say a word from the time they found her up till now. She is right now at the Axim Government Hospital. Police is yet to confirm if indeed she's there. But families who have seen the pictures, which has gone viral, says yes, it is her. And I can confirm that the family are on their way to Axim to go and see their relative. And then when they come back, I'm sure whatever it is, we will tell our viewers.
Definitely, there's an update we'll be following up for you, our viewers. But Natalia Kwanza is a woman in Takoradi with that report. Now, 12 persons have been picked up in connection with disturbances recorded in Chirpuni following the release of the president's list of MMDC nominees. Some supporters of the New Patriotic Party in the Chirpuni and East Mamprusi districts of the Northeast region last Sunday went on a rampage as soon as the official list was released, attacking some executives in the constituency and vandalizing party property over what they described as the imposition of district chief executives on them. The police has since been on the manhunt for the perpetrators of Sunday's violence and successfully apprehended a number of them. The acting public relations officer of the Northeast Regional Police, ACP, Mr. Robert Anabik Angman, confirmed the arrest to JoyNews.
You were picked up this morning. Various houses. We are still on manhunt for the rest who are involved, but we are doing intelligence-led sweeping to arrest those people who are actually involved, but not just to arrest any other person who, may not be linked, but will be picked just for the purpose of it. But we are trying our best to make sure that all those people who are arresting, they have something to do with the violence that occurred on that day. We've analyzed the video that was circulated, and we've been able to identify them. Some of them in the video and some of them that we have evidence that they are linked to the case, they were arrested.
How many more in all are you looking for?
That I can't give an exact number. As far as when we are able to get them, we'll let you.
So that was the Northeast PRO of the police command speaking with Israel Lai earlier on News Text. Our correspondent, Elias Otanko, now joins us with more on phone. Elias, so what's the latest on the arrest?
The police had scheduled to screen the suspect and identify the real culprit and process them to court. But before that could be done, they received a delegation. The party regional executives, the party regional chairman led the delegation to the police. And as I speak to you now, all the 12 suspects we understand have been released without any charge. The police wouldn't confirm to us why the screening didn't happen, but we have gotten a confirmation from the party regional secretary, Sule Sambian, who mentioned that the police have indeed released the suspect and they are on their way back to Cheponi.
So who are these people involved? Do you have details?
Well, we know that there are 12 suspects, 12 persons that were arrested this dawn, and they are Kwabena Martin, who is age 43, Idrisu Abdul Rahman, 42, Smaila Ibrahim, who we understand is a minor, about 15, 16 years, Kasim Abdelaziz, 28, Kasim Latif, 65, Ibrahim Awofo, who is 23, Osman Yusuf, 36, Abdul Latif Mohammed, 29, Hussein Bawa, who is 30 years, Kwame Mahamoud, Bashiru Ayable, and Arumia, who is also 22. And so these are the suspects that the police have identified. In fact, they've arrested them this dawn. And as I speak to you now, after a long closed-door meeting with the regional chairman and the police, all the suspects we understand have been released. And
did the police explain to you why they've been released without any charge?
Not at all. Like I said, we've been trying to get the police because they had earlier indicated to us that they were processing these suspects. And so we are trying to get them to speak to us, ask them why the suspects have been released. But like I said, it has been very difficult getting the police to give us this confirmation. But I've received confirmation, or I've gotten confirmation from 2 party executives who are currently at the police headquarters, and they have confirmed that indeed the suspects have been released.
Elias Otanko is our man in the Northeast region. Meanwhile, Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Dan Botre, speaking in an earlier interview on PM Express, said individuals who object to the list of the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives' appointment have no basis to hit the streets to cause chaos, so the law must take its course.
Absolutely no basis for the disorderly behavior of some people. But thank God, you're talking about only 1 or 2 places out of the 260. Yes, that maybe this whole business of negative news is more news. That's why. Other than that, for me, if you have 260 nominations and for 260 districts, and you have only 1 or 2 places where there have been some disorderly conduct, it's not something that we should lose focus at all. But certainly, the law should take its course. I mean, there's nothing like because you're a party person or because it's about political issues, you can decide to go against the law and people should allow you to go. There's absolutely no justification about it. President is supposed to make appointments. He's made appointments. That's it.
I mean, in the case, there are other places where, yes, there haven't been violence, but we've heard community members say, but this is not a man that we anticipated. And we just did the graphical representation there. First, I need to understand, why did the party decide to use this approach of vetting people? Because we're not obliged to.
There's no party business in this. Article 243(1). Local Governance Act. Clear. Section 20. Is the president who appoints the chief executive. There's no law that I know of or regulation that tells how Mr. President should go through the process. That he should form a committee, he should have a vetting process. There's no law. So it's the president who should make the appointment. He decides that in the case of maybe the chief executive, 260 people. So some people have expressed interest and he wants to listen to them. It's a way of also getting data of the rich human resource that we have. So he decides to, employ that process.
Government has also given the clearest indication that it will, in a matter of weeks, inaugurate the Guan district. The people of Santrofi, Akpafo, Lobi, and Likbesau traditional areas have since 2019 been without an administrative district after the Oti region was carved from the Volta region. But the minister says all is set for its inauguration.
About the decision by the Electoral Commission for them not to take part in some voting process. But that's for Electoral Commission. The pact that Mr. President had with them was a promise he made that he'll make sure that they get a district. Yes. And Mr. President has signed it until we get a district. Then we had to go to elections. After which this whole business of why didn't they take part in elections happened and all that. And under that circumstance, it was not easy, to just carry on with that exercise. Because people still felt that the main issue was the parliamentary elections. So when we were appointed and went to ministry, we go back, because fortunately for some of us, these were the people we were dealing with in the regional reorganization as to the referendum that they all voted and moved to Oti region. So we had to deal with them, and we had to build consensus. They themselves have a joint coordinating committee, and they started meeting and brought a report. There's a report they brought this year to me as to where they wanted to have the, what do you call it, the district capital.
Oh, the capital.
Yeah. But I thought finally, Mr. President, when he issued this instrument, gave it to Lekpemate. Fine. Then they started, very encouragingly coming out with the places where they can have as offices before government puts up permanent buildings. And many of the traditional areas offered some of these facilities to us. So finally, we had to talk to them and agree on a date so that we can pay a visit and have that consultation. And we had a very good meeting at Lekpemate, when all the traditional chiefs came there and said, look, we want all of us to confirm that we are ready for the inauguration. We hear voices that, oh, you are no longer even, some are not even interested. Some say they don't believe, they don't accept the fact that they are even in the Oti region. So please, let's all agree here and confirm that, yes, we want to have the inauguration done and then find the facilities that we need. And so, in the presence of all the traditional areas and then in the presence of our eminent statesman, Dr. Beda Samoa, that decision was taken. And it's clear that, well, that's what we can do. But in terms of posting on the personnel, it lies with the local government service. So we'll come back, have a meeting, a committee for local government service, and then we too have to go back. Some of the citizens had offered their buildings, some nice buildings there for the office, but you have to make sure that, you know, you put it in the office situation and then be able to send equipment and all that. There's a whole report here.
Just joined us. We're still live on The Pulse this afternoon. You can also join on all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at the Nana Aisha. And still to come shortly, we're asking, why should Ghana be the next tourism destination as we prepare for the World Tourism Day? That industry contributes $2.7 billion to the nation's economy. That conversation comes up shortly after this break. Welcome back to The Pulse. Let's have this conversation because tourism is a key economic driver in Ghana and around the world. In 2017, the sector contributed $2.7 billion, which is about 6% to national GDP. And in the year before COVID-19 struck, it contributed nearly $1.5 billion. In fact, I'm just hearing that it shot up to $3.3 billion. There has never been any doubt about the potential of tourism. It is for no reason that Rwanda spends millions of dollars to advertise its tourism sites in an effort to attract tourists. Well, next week, Ghana will join the rest of the world to commemorate World Tourism Day. This year's program will be hosted in the Hohoe Municipal Assembly of the Volta region on the theme Tourism for Inclusive Growth, to convey tourism's role in ensuring the many social and economic benefits that tourism brings, which is available to everybody, resulting in wealth creation and poverty reduction. So let's talk about it now, because in the studio with me is Kofi Atta-Kakrakusi, who is a spokesperson for the Ghana Tourism Authority, and he joins me now for a conversation. Good to have you, Kofi. First, I'd like you to tell me how the industry has fared. We all know what has happened with COVID-19. Cinemas closed, hotels closed, restaurants, bars. Some hotels have even turned into quarantine areas. I mean, how have you fared, throughout this period?
Good, Aisha. Let me give a shout out to my Chief Executive, Mr. Kwesi Agyeman, and Honorable Minister for Tourism, Dr. Ibrahim Awal Mohammed. The tourism sector, but of course, just as has been in the news we were bad hit with COVID. COVID brought its own issues that we are trying to grapple with. But of course, the national agenda has been to be able to bring tourism to a pedestal that after COVID, we can move in that smooth sail. You know what COVID brought to us. The hotels were closed down. We had nightclubs issues. We had drinking bars and then cinemas and all that. All that downplayed. Do not forget, as when we were about to take off after the Year of Return. The Year of Return was the landmark marketing campaign that the Ghana Tourism Authority, and do not forget, it's due to the Year of Return that we were able to rake in close to about $3.3 billion into the economy. This came from about 1.3 million travels that tourists that pulled into the country. Okay. And in spite of all this, what the ministry and the Ghana Tourism Authority is doing is that we are trying to resuscitate the industry and then push with various projects that, of course, I'll be outlining in the course of our discussions.
Okay, so of course, what's the plan to bounce back? Because we know that COVID has really affected the industry. Yes. And as we gear towards World Tourism Day, and I like to share stories of other countries. In fact, I mentioned one when I was introducing the script. There's also one in China where they have embarked on a deliberate effort to make that place a tourism hub. So you have no choice to come to that part of China or any part of those countries I've mentioned to you because it is attractive.
Absolutely.
How are we bouncing back? What's the plan? What's the support from government? Then we can think of how to bring people back here.
Good. This is, I think I must commend you for this. What the Ghana Tourism Authority, under the leadership of Mr. Kwesi Agyeman and my chief executive, the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Dr. Ibrahim Awal Mohammed, what has been put in place is this. We have launched a new campaign we call Experience Ghana, Share Ghana. This is virtually a domestic tourism campaign that we are using to be able to bounce back. Now, we realize that, for example, just as you mentioned, somewhere in China, somewhere in Rwanda, during, as COVID raged in those places, they have not been able to travel. So they are trying to do what? Build their own domestic system. And that is exactly what Ghana is also trying to do. That is why we have this Experience Ghana, Share Ghana campaign. Okay. The campaign is aimed at giving boost to our earlier campaign, which is See Ghana, Eat Ghana, Wear Ghana, and Feel Ghana. Okay. We have, so far, you realize that we've had lots of collaboration with the Tour Operators Union of Ghana, the Tour Guides Association, the restaurants, the nightclubs, the car rentals, the travel agencies. All these people, we brought them into a stakeholders engagement. And then we took their views. We actually had to solicit their views to be able to start this domestic tourism campaign, which we call Experience Ghana, Share Ghana. Okay. What the campaign, like I've mentioned, is to bounce back the tourism industry. What also we have done with this campaign is that we've had the World Bank development project to be able, the World Bank, which has given us some funds. Okay. And the funds, we call it Ghana Tourism Development Project. And those funds are to help us to be able to develop most of our tourist sites and attractions. Okay. Yes. Hitherto, as I'm speaking with you, some of the tourist sites have been developed. We have Nzulezu, we have Tafi Atome, we have some of the museums, all that coming from support from the Tourism Development Fund, and then also from the Ghana Tourist Development Project, from the World Bank. Okay. More to that also, what we are also doing is that we have a new LI. The LI was passed in 2019, just as it was passed, COVID came in. The LI is the Tourist Sites and Attractions Regulations. These regulations is giving the Ghana Tourism Authority the support, the strength to be able to manage most of our tourist sites and attractions. And you realize that these tourist sites and attractions, most often than not, are in the bosom of the communities, the chiefs and people. So the LI is giving us the strength to be able to see to the development of these tourists. And that is how come the World Bank Development Project and the Tourism Development Fund is supporting assiduously.
I'm happy before COVID came in, I mean, you were able to contribute about 3.3 billion with a year of return.
That's true.
I mean, that's no doubt. That was massive for the tourism industry. But after COVID, a lot of the industries, like I mentioned, hotels, restaurants, I mean, all of them, cinemas, were going down because there was no action.
Yes.
What support have you provided for them, I mean, in terms of funds to bounce back?
Good. As part of getting them back on their feet, what the Ghana Tourism Authority, under the auspices of the Ministry of Tourism, did was to look up also to the Ghana Tourism Development Project. The World Bank also gave an amount of money, some amount of money that was used to be able to get them on track. Okay. Some also came from the Ghana Enterprises Agency, the defunct NBSSI. So our tourism operators could confirm to this that yes, these funds were put up to them and then they were able to apply. But there is also a new fund that has to do with the Ghana Enterprises Agency, which they are still trying as much as possible to apply so that more funds could be made available in order to bring them back to their normal stage. Though they may not get it normal, but as we move on, we would be able to get to the threshold.
Okay, but let's also look at local tourism. How are you encouraging that? Because in times like these, the pandemic and all of that, these are the things that can help us stabilize the sector. And so I'll give you an example of the UK, for instance. The UK took a painful effort of trying to ensure that they make it attractive and stop their citizens from traveling outside, because they look at the kind of money they spend when they go outside to enjoy their vacation and all that. So a lot of them now stay at home to enjoy their vacation, so that it means that that money stays in the UK. How are you encouraging local tourism? I mean, what's the plan?
Good. We have a plan, and this plan was part of what I earlier on mentioned. It's part of what we did with our stakeholders. We call them the Ghana Tourism Federation. It encompasses the hotels, it encompasses the tour operators, the travel agents, the airlines, and all the tourism travel chain. So what we are doing and what we did is that we are making sure that we sensitize as many public Ghanaians so that they are able to know that it is our own. We need to develop our own.
Okay, so if it's our own,
yes,
is it worth it? Why should I use my money to go to Toffee Atoy, for instance, to look at any tourist site? Is it worth it?
It is.
Have we improved the size? Remember before COVID came in and all of that, we're all complaining about the natural sites that we have, that we've abandoned, that can cash in money for us.
Good. Aisha, like I mentioned, some of our tourist sites, of course, have issues. That is why we have the LI 2393. That has to do with the tourist sites and attractions regulations.
Okay.
That LI is what is helping us to be able to bring them back to fruition.
Okay.
You see, for example, if you get to the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, and most people have been saying, oh, it has issues. Yes, but what the Ghana Tourism Authority and the ministry has done is that currently we are renovating the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. And then also there are more tourist sites that we are working on. In as much as we are looking at developing our domestic tourism, we have to look at our tourist sites and attractions. And then also we look at also customer service. Customer service is key into development of our tourism sector.
Okay, so customer service, that's number one. And I will take you back to year of return. Year of return was massive, but in this COVID situation, you can't do year of return because of the kind of large crowd that come in. So what's the plan? I mean, in the interim, as we await COVID to be over, then we can do all the things that we used to do. In the interim, we still need that money from the tourism sector. What's the plan?
The plan is that even during COVID, what the ministry did was to bring up what we call Beyond the Return. Okay. That is a follow-up to the year of return. Okay. Beyond the Return has about 7 pillars. One of it has to do with Celebrate Ghana. Other has to do with Brand Ghana. And then we have Diaspora Pathways to Ghana. And then there are about 7. So all these pillars, what we are doing is that we have various committees that are working assiduously on that, in order to be able to get Ghanaians to understand that all that we are doing has to do with resuscitating our domestic tourism campaign, which is Experience Ghana and Share Ghana. So we are virtually not being able to travel out of the country, so we have to look at our own setting. How are we to improve upon it? And that is what the Ghana Tourism Authority is doing. 1, improvement of our tourist sites. 2, our customer service. We launched a customer service excellence agenda, which is key on our outlines. Then also, we're also looking at the industry professionals. How are we to get them to understand that this is an industry that has to do with all of us? That is why with the theme for the World Tourism Day is Tourism for Inclusive Growth. So all of us coming together as one people, what are we doing? What can we do to be able to resuscitate? And that is what the agenda of the tourism ministry is about.
I'm really interested in the theme for the celebration for this year. Tourism, what?
Tourism for inclusive growth. For
inclusive growth, it means you're bringing everybody on board.
Yes.
And you also mentioned happily that because of COVID, I mean, the traveling is a bit limited. So you cannot do as much as travel you used to do before COVID. So if I wanted to go for vacation and I take my leave, and it's very important for me as a worker to take that vacation to go resuscitate, revamp, rejuvenate, whatever. And I pick my bag and I want to go to Zambia because there are a lot of natural sightseeing for me to go and look at there. Now, because of COVID, I don't want to do that, but that money I'm going to spend in Zambia, I want to spend it in Ghana. Tell me, are there places that I can actually enjoy that?
Aisha, there are a lot of places in Ghana you can enjoy.
Where? Tell me about.
A lot. One, we are looking at the cultural aspect of it. Two, we are looking at the historical aspect of it. We are looking at educational and then recreational, leisure. All these places, most of these places, you can go to, you have, for example, we're going to have the World Tourism Day in Hohoi.
Okay.
Right. We have...
Do I have to wait till every year when there's World Tourism Day before I can go to places?
No, the sites are there. The sites are already there.
Tell me about them. Where are they?
Tagbo Falls is in the Volta region.
Okay.
Yes. We have Afajato in the Volta region. We have Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park. We have the Art Center. We have Mullen National Park, just like, as I can see on the screen. We have Shy Hills. All these places are places of convenience that, though, like I mentioned, we accept that there are a little bit of challenges, which we are working on them one after the other.
So some of them, I mean, the road to the place is a problem.
Good.
I mean, how you even get there is one of the problems. I mean, my problem is how you are making it attractive. I know about Paga. I know about Willie Falls. I know about a few of the Larabanga Mosque. I know about some of these tourism sites. But how would they attract me? I want something to actually attract me to say that I'm not going elsewhere. I'm not traveling outside the country, but I want to enjoy my own home sites. I mean, tourist sites, to refresh my memory. How are we encouraging people to be attracted to this?
Good. Aisha, as a matter of fact, during the launch of the domestic tourism campaign, we call it Experience Ghana, Share Ghana. What we did was that we had to poke with the Ministry of Finance and then the Ministry of Roads. As a matter of fact, the Minister for Roads was at the launch of the domestic tourism campaign.
Okay.
Why did we push him there? We pushed him there because some of our roads leading to the tourist sites needs to be fixed.
Definitely.
Yes. So it is some conversation that the Honorable Minister, my Chief Executive, and the well-meaning private sector are pushing up under the sleeves of the government. So the government is able to see that, yes, these things are very important. Of course, we have fixed some of the roads. If you go to Kakum National Park, the road is fixed. If you go to Kwawu paragliding site, the roads are being fixed. So some of the roads are being fixed, I could confirm to you. And of course, some of your viewers could also attest to that. So we cannot do that at a go, but it is gradual process for us to get there.
Well, it's a gradual process. Maybe we need to speed up. Maybe the pace is a bit slow because we want to catch up with our colleagues out there. Now, let's talk about the Tourism Day. And you mentioned the theme there. Tell me about the theme. I mean, what to expect on that day?
Good. Aisha, the World Tourism Day, it's a day that is always put aside to celebrate and then also be able to see what tourism contributes to society. Tourism, we could say that it's a multi-sectoral sector. Just as we mentioned, you realize that I mentioned that the Minister for Roads, the Minister for Finance were at the launch and all that. It means we always engage other sectors of the economy to be able to get our tourist sites and attractions and then get our tourism people to understand that this is very important and key to our national development. So with the World Tourism Day, Tourism for Inclusive Growth, we are looking at everybody coming on board. Each and everyone matters in the tourism industry. The private sector, the indigenes, the communities, all those people. So what we are also doing is that we are trying to involve the communities. You realize that in recent times, we are trying to put together various tourism committees in the various regions, right? Also, the Ghana Tourism Authority, like I mentioned early on, we have about 11 regional offices. All these offices take note of the various regions where they find themselves. We also have district offices, even to the zones, even zonals, right? All these offices try to improve the tourism industry in order to have a holistic way of pulling the industry together.
And so beyond this celebration, what should we expect from the tourism ministry?
Yes, the tourism, the ministry is looking at pushing more in order for us to be able to have the goodwill that the tourism sector brings each and every time. But of course, Aisha, let me give a roundup of the programs that we have. On the 26th of September, that will be on Sunday. We're going to have a health walk, and then and then we're going to have a Afajatu hiking challenge. It will be, we have revelers and people move up and down the Afajatu, or more or less a challenge. So we're going to reward first, second, and third winners for them to be able to champion the domestic tourism campaign. And then also on the 27th September each year is World Tourism Day. That is when we celebrate the tourism fraternity. Our private sector, our public sector, each and every one, we come together, we have a deba with the chiefs and people of Hohoi, which is going to be a very wonderful experience for Ghanaians. And we urge each and everyone to take tourism as one of the key drivers of the national economy. In as much as we are doing that, what we have also unveiled is that we have something we call Accra City Tour. And we have unveiled what we call, as part of the Experience Ghana, Share Ghana domestic tourism campaign, we have the Accra City Tour, which we have the double-decker bus, and then also we have the bone shaker. Anyone who wants to patronize this, we can call on the Tourism Authority or the Tour Operators Union of Ghana. These are ways that we are trying to influence Ghanaians for them to be able to understand that domestic tourism is key to national development.
And I wish you well in your up-and-coming Tourism Day celebration at Kakra. Kusi is with the Corporate Affairs Department of the Tourism Ministry. But talking about tourism, it was yet another thrilling tour on Joy Prime Explores. Show host Kojo Yankson takes viewers on a breathtaking trip across the Lake Volta in the brand new Volta River Authority's Dodi Princess. Yes, the Volta River Authority has renovated and brought it back with a bang with interesting surprises. Oh, wait. Do you know the relationship former President Rawlings had with the Dodi Island? Find out from the excerpts of the voyage aired on Joy Prime.
The Volta Hotel has recently awakened a giant from the dead. The Dodi Princess was the jewel of the Volta Lake. The only cruise ship in Ghana sailed millions of passengers across the serene waters of the Volta Lake over a 30-year period until it mysteriously burned to a cinder in 2013. Today, though, that magical experience has been lovingly recreated on the Dodi Princess II. It's certainly no mean feat keeping a massive vessel like this afloat.
So for us, it's about the experience and not just about the cruising. So it's the experience that we are selling out, the experience that we are marketing. The experience is water-centered. The experience is domestic tourism. The experience is adventure. The experience is the thrills that you come here and feel.
Should you see anybody going inside the water or falling off, or if you see anybody inside the water, you only see a head, a round ball, and maybe flicking a hand, calling for help. If you see that, please scream, man overboard, man overboard, man overboard.
The experience has been great. The scenery is fine. They have a section for kids where your kids will be entertained. Adults too can be also entertained upstairs with a high life band. So far we are having fun.
I notice he keeps pushing that thing.
That is the steering.
That little knob, the black knob there, that's the steering for this entire vessel. They call it joystick. Joystick, of course. Wow.
Captain.
Great shots. Thank you.
that's our destination, though, the island. It's our destination. All right, so we have about 600 inhabitants on the island. They are basically Ewes, okay? Then they are also farmers and fishermen. There's a female. So the male died and the husband died and is left with the wife. So it's a widow. Oh, it's a widow. So, but then we'll try and get some more.
What is the history of Dodi Island?
So let me say he actually founded the island. He actually was the one who brought it back. So he moves from Accra out of all the stress and the noise making to the island to just come and settle down to release some stress. So you see some buildings on there which are basically round in nature. So that's where he comes to lodge and settle down and calm down. So when you go to the other side of the island, there's a place called the Rollins Bay. So like a small beach where he comes to do swimming. He loves to swim. He loves to also party on the boat and all that. He's very adventurous.
I promised you adventure, and this most certainly has been a wonderful adventure. Right here from the middle of the Volta Lake, we now embark on what will become a regular trip out into the beauty of our nation, our sub-region, and the world as a whole. I am so excited that you and I are going to be exploring the beauties of this planet together. But there's no other place, no better place to begin than right here, where it all began, Kwame Nkrumah's jewel of Ghana, the Akosombo Dam and the Volta River. And our special thanks, of course, to everybody who has made this possible, including the wonderful people of the Dodi Princess. Thank you, and goodbye.
Now, scores of residents of Agape Top at the Central Municipality of the Greater Accra region have been forced to seek refuge and the makeshift structures after their homes were taken over by floods. Roads in the community were also flooded, making it difficult for the residents to access other parts of the capital. They are appealing to the government to construct roads and drainage systems to help ease their situation. My Missy Thompson was in that community and now reports.
The sad story of 50-year-old Mama Nkran. She spent her entire life savings to put up this apartment to house herself and her 4 children. She's operated this tabletop provision store to help with her upkeep and that of her children for many years. But that story completely changed last week after heavy rains. When it rained, we couldn't have access to the house because of the flood. All my belongings are destroyed.
Provisions.
We need government to construct the drains. She's been forced out of her home and now taking shelter in a kiosk after her apartment was taken over by floods. Now the rains have taken over my house. I am currently perching in a kiosk. Bathing has even become a chore. My children now live with friends.
28.
Okay. 17 years. Her business almost collapsed after losing almost everything in the floods. Half of the food items I sell is spoiled. She's one of many who have had their homes flooded in the Agape Top area a week after the rains. 54-year-old trader Agnes Sam and her neighbor Ejase lost all of their belongings to the floods.
The
volume of water that entered our house was so much. Now I don't even know what to do.
Yanyoma ina say matu ade a meton ni na mentare mentuma bibia.
The rains have destroyed my life savings.
Bibia say me hu dia me
so ni tire ma edan bi si mfinfin ho no ma say ka be about 5 feet ne do roofing level ntina say.
The waters rushed in with such force and broke down my walls, forcing its way into my hall and bedroom. In the next minutes, my whole hall was flooded.
Many homes are in water, whilst roads in the community have been left unmotorable. Reverend Charles Kumson is one of the opinion leaders in the community.
Road here, usually the water will pass here so that the one down here will be reduced, but the people in this area have also blocked here, so the road the water cannot go, and this is only the escape route when the place is flooded, where the other trucks and cars can use to their various homes, and then the community down there. So I'm taking you to another side where the flood has caused damage. About 6 years now. It started very small, but as time goes on, the flood increases because people were building. And then the assembly, who has oversight responsibility of the development here, will not do anything than to write produce permits. So the roads continue to be blocked by some few people, not many people, few people. So this is supposed to be the main road from Agape Junction. Look at how the road has been reduced to.
The Berean Academy caters for needy children, but it's been forced to ask some pupils to stay at home as they try to deal with the floods in their classrooms. It is the worst devastation in the community since many started living here more than 20 years ago. Some residents lay blame squarely at the doorstep of the Gas Central Municipal Assembly.
A lot of people have even lost their building to the flooding. You look at there, you can't even go there. The buildings are in the water. So the problem is from two angles. Some of the residents that are building on the waterways, and then number two, the district assembly's inability to pull those structures down. Because how do you wait for one people to hijack the entire community? When it rains, you can't go out, you can't even come in.
When rain fall like this, we can't drive. The road is very, very bad. People have been coming for interview every day, day and night, and we don't see anything. So I hope you people are going to do something about it, and we call upon the government to come and help us. We are suffering for this road. So
Agape top here, we have a very big problem here. Every day you listen, you don't have any road, even footpath to pass on it. If you see the around, everybody in this around have a problem because anytime it rain fall, you don't have a place to sleep. We pour every TV, even Ketai, that's a crowd about. We have a financial problem, even road problem, hospital, school, market, everything. This place is none. We don't have anything. We are always voting for a MPP political party. But now we are not talking about the political party. We are talking about ourselves. Everybody needs a development. That is why we are voting for a government.
And the situation, government to come to our aid because we are suffering. Like we are not among the Ghanaians. Government to come and help us. For several years, look at this village is for a long time village. But look now, you can see from Ashalaja going all turn to town, and we are still in the forest. We don't know what is happening.
A social media campaign dubbed Fix Agape Roads Now have so far not been able to get the attention of authorities. Assemblywoman Gertrude Freema informed me through a phone call that she will soon meet with residents to come up with a solution.
We are meeting with the MP, the engineers, and we'll be discussing the way forward on the flooding situation.
For now, the residents say they can only be hopeful that government will hear their cry and come to their aid sometime soon. Mamiesi Thompson, JoyNews, Agape, Accra.
Well, Member of Parliament for Anyaso Tum says steps are being taken to address the flooding situation at Agabe Tope suburb of Ablekuma. Honorable Dixon Adomako Kisi met with community leaders to discuss a way forward after scores of residents were forced to seek refuge under makeshift structures when their home were taken over by floods. Roads in the community were also flooded, making it difficult for the residents to access other parts of the capital. Let's go on the line and speak with the Member of Parliament, Dixon Adomako Kisi, on the steps they're taking so far. I'm grateful for your time, Honorable. Honorable Kisi, I'm happy that you've been able to meet with the residents of that community. What are the steps you're putting in place to resolve this issue?
Well, first of all, let me commend your team. Media plays a huge role in bringing to light the plight and concerns of our citizenry. So I'll commend your team. They came out, I've seen the videos, I've seen the pictures, and I've actually walked the path, more importantly, today. I went around the area to observe, in totality, some of the damages and the plight of our people. And this is not the first time. I've lived in the community, so I know and understand their pain. Granted, not too long ago, we invited the Deputy Road Minister to showcase a similar thing, to let him understand clearly the challenges within our community. And he's assured us in the presence of many people that funds are gradually trickling in and that some of these issues would be addressed. And I've made it emphatic to him that these are critical roads within our community. And I know tributary roads are an issue, but we've made it clear to him, Agape, including NIC, including Lomnava, and many other areas within the Anyaso Tum enclave. And let me add that our population currently is well over 300,000 people, and our road infrastructure is not adequate per our population and per our needs. And with regards to Agape, whilst I was there today, I made time, listened to them, and we all came to a conclusion that the existing engineering works that they have in mind should be implemented to be sort of an interim solution, because the 2.4 kilometer stretch is quite huge. I mean, no one individual can build a 2.4 kilometer stretch road by his own means. And what is very potent now is to make sure that we have some immediate relief for them. So there are some structures. Part of the problem is human-made, and those structures will have to come down. And we hope that through the assembly, we can make them aware of the need to take their things out of those structures. And then beyond that, hopefully within the next 21 days, we can take some steps of implementing the already drawn, known engineering calculations and, as it is, plans that our engineers had. They wanted to channel the water out of where it is sitting through about 3 houses by way of doing a sort of a conduit, not necessarily breaking the homes, but using the gap between their wall and their houses to make a waterway for an exit point, one exit point for that water gathered, as you can see. And I think the challenge largely was the acceptance and an understanding of the people who own those houses. And I think per my engagement today, I'll have to sit with those homeowners again and see how best we can have them understand that we're not breaking their homes, but we need to make a conduit. And it is as a result of bad siting of properties. And these some of these go way back before my time, or before the time of our new and incoming municipal chief executive.
And thankfully, you actually understand the terrain and you know what the problem is. Is this something that you've also brought to the notice of the roads minister, for instance?
Well, like I said, we were fortunate to have road ministry visit our shores, shall I say, on the 9th of September. So it's not too long, and some of these residents, fortunately, can testify that we held a huge deba where we engaged them, and I wanted a scenario where it wasn't residents talking to me and then I go and talk to the minister, but I actually brought Honorable Deputy Minister here for him to actually hear direct from the residents, and he's done that, and we've won his heart, and he's also going to push this agenda. In addition, we were fortunate to have the Directress for Urban Road for our region, which is the Greater Accra Region Urban Roads Directress. And she was, such a wonderful heart. She reassured us that, as much as they are tied up in terms of funds, as soon as they get, will be one of the first places that they'll relieve as of. And I personally have made my commitment today that in the interim, all the things on the drawing board will see how best with our, as it says, widow's mite, see how best we can relieve them of their plight so that the rains don't drown us.
So what was the outcome of your meeting with the community leaders?
Today, one day, they were happy that at least the barest minimum have come to give them an ear. Giving somebody a hearing is very important. And I think they commended me for at least walking up to them and having a sit with them. I was there for almost about well over 4 hours, trying to, have them actually talk to me and express themselves full-heartedly. So that was one positive. In times past, maybe they might cry and nobody would come to their beckon and to even listen. So that was a positive. And then in addition, we engaged ourselves in a self-introspection where the issues are largely also due to them building in the roadways and the waterways. They admitted that, yes, these are also man-made. They have also contributed. And then I begged them, because there's been times when we've put excavators there and the township comes to fight the people that bring the excavator. So these is a double-edged sword in a way. We've advised the citizenry, the residents, that please, when the engineers come with equipment to work, don't get any people to come and then rather show them what to do, because engineering work can be counterintuitive in the sense that where you might think that it should go, since you're not a hydraulic, hydro engineering person, you might have the wrong perception. So what we've done is, done a field sort of interaction. And I think the next thing I'll need to do is to carry the engineers and have another sort of interaction with the people prior to going on the ground to do the work. And I think that today has been a positive one in the sense that, like I said, out of my almost busy schedule, I made time for our wonderful residents of Agape.
Thankfully, a community leader who was part of that meeting, Reverend Charles Coomson, has also joined the discussion. Reverend Charles Coomson, I'm grateful for your time. Are you satisfied with the steps taken today in the meeting that just ended with a member of parliament?
He came. The way he spoke to us was very awesome. The tempers have calmed down. We are only trusting God that whatever he has for us, the community will cooperate, and also the assembly will put their feet down and make the laws work. So we are happy.
So beyond this meeting, what are your expectations as residents who are affected by these floods?
At least for the interim, we want something to be done now because it's normally rain here often so that the flood can go. And then we're looking forward for the road itself to be constructed because even if they open the drainage and it is not done, the sun will fill it again when it rains. So we are trusting God that when all is set for the assembly or whoever is in charge, the road will be fully constructed for us.
I'm grateful for your time. Reverend Kumsin is a community leader at the Agape Top area where there's been series of floods in that area. We showcased that for you earlier. We spoke with the MP for Anyaso Tum, who's promised to deal with the problem. Now, a huge crocodile was seen roaming on the streets of the Gomba line, a suburb of Techiman in the Bono East region. Residents who saw it at about 5:30 a.m. said it roamed the community while locals, including several children, followed it at a distance. They managed to push it away from the houses out of fear until it found its way into an open gutter along the street where it was captured. And as Sabit witnessed the incident, he now joins us via Zoom with more. And as what really happened? Can you tell us how this crocodile was captured? Where was it taken to?
What I was saying is that the people have been terrified. They are worried, considering the fact that the crocodile was spotted in the early hours of the day at about 5:30 a.m. And this, according to them, is a sort of worry because if it was not spotted early, it could have caused a lot of havoc to the people because it is a very huge animal. And the Gomba line is in the heart of Tichima, and they believe it found its way into the community through one of the rings. You know, when it rains, the Tano River is around or surrounding the entire Tichima township. So these crocodiles sometimes find their way through the rainwater and then into the community. For the Gomba line, which is the community where this animal was spotted, this is the very first time they are seeing something like this, and so the people are quite worried. When it comes to Techiman Township, this is not the first time we are hearing of such a news, because I have personally heard a number of times in the Hausaland area, and then in Sabunzungo, which is also a suburb of Techiman. Usually, because Techiman Township is surrounded by the Tano River, where these reptiles are normally found, a lot of them are in there. Whenever it rains heavily, they find their way into the community. So this is a kind of worry for the people because they don't know when another one is going to find its way into the community, and if care is not taken, someone somewhere may be hurt or injured by the crocodile. So
is this something? Anas? Is this something that the chiefs and authorities are worried about?
Community leaders are actually worried about what has happened, and I'm here to kind of have a direct contact with the chiefs of the area. But the people I've been speaking with have, counted a number of times such things have happened. There was a time one found its way in a community called Sabunzungu, and according to them, it gets hold of a man, and people within the community had to intervene to save him. So they wish something could be done. The how or what needs to be done is something that people here cannot actually tell. With this particular one, when they saw it, they have to push it away from the houses around, and slowly the crocodile found its way into a gutter, an open gutter, and hid under a particular covert. Later, they have to find a barrel, an ash barrel, and then push the animal with the use of a stick, and it slowly, entered into the barrel, and they had to raise it and then get it out with the help of some of the youth of the area. And one person, we are told, it was from the traditional authority, came in and then they picked it into a tricycle and then went off. We are told they took it back to the Tano River. They asked to the particular spot, and what actually happened is something we cannot add. But this is not a new thing in Techiman, but the people are quite worried, and they wish something could be done to prevent this from happening again.
And has this been brought to the notice of the regional council, security council, or whoever is in charge of these animals, so something can be done about it?
The animals, the people of Techiman believe has some traditional, or background. They believe the Tano River is sacred for the people of Techiman. And so when you come to Techiman, fishes that are in the Tano River are not eaten because we believe they are sacred animals. So all the animals in the Tano River are not hurt when it comes to the Techiman traditional council or area. So because of that, these animals are there, no one hurts them, nothing is being done to them. But we will be getting this to the security agencies as well to find out what they are also going to do to ensure that it does not happen again, Aisha.
But can you say some of the animals in the river, do they also hurt the people when they come out?
I haven't heard of any major incident with the exception of the one I heard in Sabunzungu, which is also a suburb of Techiman or within the Techiman area. With that particular one, that was the first time I heard a crocodile in the Tano River has attempted to attack an indigenous or a resident. With that one, I'm told he mistakenly stepped on the animal and then the animal got hold of his leg. That was the very first incident. Apart from that, I am yet to come across any major incidents of those animals, crocodiles, attacking people. The last time I visited the Tano River along the Techiman Kumasi Road, there is this Tanoso where the people there told me the number of crocodiles, they are working on getting the place developed into a tourist site. So people will be traveling to come here because they say the animals are more or less like friends to the people. And so if they're able to develop the place quite well, it will attract lots of, tourists. And in the long run, the people around will also make money out of their visitation. So this is what I know in relation to these animals that are in the Tano River.
Anna Sabit is our correspondent in the Bono East region with updates on that one. Now, the National Peace Council says it has presented a report to national security detailing concerns of alleged marginalization of persons from the Volta region by the NPP administration. Chairman of the council, Reverend Dr. Enesedu Jemfi, said at the commemoration of this year's International Peace Day that the report captured lack of construction of the defense wall, the alleged military invasion during the 2020 mass registration exercise, among others.
NDC and MPP and produce a roadmap and a code of conduct to guide political behavior before, during, and after the last elections. The council thereafter undertook a nationwide advocacy and sensitization of the general public on the anti-vigilantism law and the code of conduct for political parties, and the signing of the Presidential Peace Pact as a means to guaranteeing peace before, during, and after the election. This led to generally peaceful elections. Indeed, we did not record any act of vigilantism during the elections. Regrettably, however, some people died in the post-election violence, during the collation of results. This is a dent on our democratic credibility and should not be allowed to fester. At a post-election dialogue in Adan earlier this year, participants, which included the Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Majority and Minority Leader of Parliament, Chairmen and General Secretaries of the NPP, NDC, representatives of the CPP and PNC, members of the security services, donor partners, civil society organizations, academia, Electoral Commission, Judiciary, the National Peace Council, among others, we resolved to ensure that these unfortunate events do not happen again in this country. Your Excellencies, another threat to Ghana's peace is what has become known as violent extremism and terrorism. Currently, in the West African sub-region, violent extremism and violent extremists are gaining ground. Burkina Faso, Ghana's northern neighbor, has had to battle violent extremists for some time now. It is important that we in Ghana take steps to consolidate our peace and intentionally close any gaps, such as unemployment, fundamentalism, maladministration, that could allow for the growth of violent extremism in the country. Collectively, it is the duty of every Ghanaian to work towards protecting the peace we are enjoying in this country. We call on fellow citizens to report any suspicious activity to the relevant law enforcement agencies for the necessary action to be taken. The board had extensive meeting with the Minister of National Security. And that was when we went to present to him a report on the work we've done in the Volta region. We've been in the Volta region for 3 continuous weeks, listening to the people in the Volta region to hear why they feel marginalized, neglected, and that they have not had part of the national cake. We gathered all the information and we met with the minister to present that report to him. So there's a constant engagement depending on what the issues are and which department we need to engage, so that we keep doing all those things to make sure that we bring to the attention of the government what to do. After that meeting, there's going to be a follow-up to that work which we've done. And we are now strategizing as to how to do that, to make sure that the people of Volta region will feel part of Ghana, that nobody who is a Voltarian or in the Oti region will ever feel that he is not part of this country.
The International Justice Mission is calling for regular police patrols on Lake Volta to help deal with the menace of child trafficking and the use of children for hazardous work on the lake. In an interview with JoyNews, the Director of Advocacy, Leonard Akon, said Ghana is making progress in the fight against the menace. Ghana joined thousands of churches across the world to commemorate the IGM's Freedom Sunday, a day set aside to highlight the ills of trafficking. Maxwell Agbagba was at some churches that commemorated the day and has come through with this report.
In spite of efforts to completely eradicate the menace of trafficking and the use of children on Lake Volta, some perpetrators continue to outwit state security agencies. 2 years ago, I met a 10-year-old boy who was rescued by police after he was used for many years by his boat's master for fishing activities. He was part of a group of children who were rescued. He told me the boat's master had taken him to an island community along the Lake Volta under the guise of funding his education. He told me a boy who he lived on the same compound with died after he was forced to dive into the lake. It is Freedom Sunday, and here at the Lashibi EP Church, some of the members are happily taking pictures with inscriptions that condemn trafficking. Freedom Sunday provides churches with the opportunity to deepen the understanding of God's heart for justice, discover the realities of modern slavery, and join the fight to end it. Director of Advocacy for IJM in Ghana, Leonard Akon, urged members of the church to join the fight for justice.
Now,
just imagine that your son does not know how to swim and is taken on an island community which is about 3,000 square miles away from where he used to live to work on this Volta Lake for about 6 to 7 days. Just imagine that it is your daughter. Also just imagine that your son does not know how to swim and is made to work on this Volta Lake in a leaky canoe boat and is made to go into the deepest part of the lake, to dive into the lake to disentangle it. Just imagine that it is you or it is your son. Your son doesn't know how to swim, your daughter doesn't know how to swim, but is made to go through this situation just for the benefit of the fisherman. Now this is the reality of what children on the Volta Lake go through on a daily basis.
He's calling for regular police patrols on Lake Volta to deal with the situation.
Deploying police patrol boats on Lake Volta, that is one thing that will end this, because I mean Lake Volta is huge and massive, and deploying police patrol boats to basically arrest people exploiting children and to stop people from exploiting children on the Lake Volta is one of the surest way to end this problem. So police patrol boats on Lake Volta, every single angle or every single part of Lake Volta, we deploying police patrol boats on Lake Volta is what will end this problem. And I am very sure that Lake Volta will be free of exploitation of children.
At the Hope City Church in Lusu, members sang justice songs to commemorate the day. Gospel musician who is also a member of the International Justice Mission Ghana, Eugene Zuta, talked about getting justice for the oppressed and how Christians can help in that regard.
Who can help Kofi, help him with his education and all that. You know how the narrative goes. And so took Kofi from the family and then sent him to a village that is near the Volta Lake. Kofi thought that he was going to go to school and then learn a trade. But right from the day he went to that the new location, he was actually sent to a boat master. Kofi, from that day for over 4 years, wakes up around 1 a.m. And Kofi is about 5 years old. And wakes up every morning around 1 a.m. and goes onto the Volta Lake and will work from around 1 a.m. and till about 6 a.m. Come and just have something scanty to eat. And then by 8 a.m., Kofi is going back onto the Volta Lake. At a very young age, this child have done this for almost over 5 years. He's beaten anytime he's not able to, because of his physical level, he's not able to work as he's supposed to. And then as a child, normally when they cast the net, and then the net get entangled in the river, because the Volta River has a lot of tree stumps, for those of you who know. This child, even without any diving skills or swimming skills, is pushed into the lake to go and disentangle these nets and then come back up. And there are several times Kofi have seen some of his friends who go into the lake and they never come back. Having been set free, you must be an agent of freedom for other people. Amen. As a church, let us not keep quiet in our communities. Let us not keep quiet in our families. Let us not keep quiet in our nations, and see injustice have a field day.
Tocton Brown is part of IGM's legal team. She believes prayers can lead to freedom of some of the people held in bondage.
Pray for freedom for each of the children who are held in bondage, to pray for folks that are trafficking to realize that this is a travesty of justice, and to pray for our justice system to be strengthened in the fight. Human trafficking is a great problem of our day, but it is not insurmountable. And so the importance of Freedom Sunday is to draw awareness to this issue so that people can gather together. It takes all of us united to fight human trafficking, but together we can end it.
From a street child to a politician, this is the story of MP for Medina Francis Susu, who was among the lots that were catered for many years ago at the Village of Hope. Over the years, the organization made up for 3 schools, a hospital, and an orphanage has provided shelter for many children who hitherto had no hope of a bright future. At the organization's 25th anniversary celebration yesterday, many people, including Mr. Susu, shared their stories to encourage children who are still at the center. My colleague Judith Awachitando was at the ceremony and has filed this report.
Proudly, wherever I find myself, that Village of Hope is the reason why I am where I am today. And I'm proud of Village of Hope, and I'll always be proud of Village of Hope.
That is Francis Xavier Susu, recounting his days at the Village of Hope in Gomoa Fete. He is among many other children who were rescued from the streets and given a new life at the organization.
My mother was a slave girl because she was what we call a vojushi or a trokoshi. She escaped from the voodoo shrine as a teenager and got married to my dad, and both of them gave birth to 6 of us. I being the 3rd born, I had to just struggle my way to be able to make it. I used to sleep at the Malata market, and I would go there, sleep there, and still go to school the following day. So Village of Hope came in at the senior high school. So at the senior high school, apart from the first admission fee I paid, I was unable to pay for any more school fees for all the 3 years I was there. So they awarded me a full scholarship to go to school.
The Village of Hope has been home for many abandoned, homeless and vulnerable children since its establishment in 1996. For many years, it has offered these children a roof over their heads, quality education and a renewed hope of a brighter future. Solomon Abriyabwa was a beneficiary of the services provided at the institution. Today, he's the only craniofacial surgeon in all of West Africa.
It all started, let me say, from 1997 when my mother died. I was then in the medical school, 2nd year. And when that happened, I needed to take care of all my sisters and take care of myself as well. So it was actually a struggle. And because of that, I needed to, I actually failed and was repeated during that class. Life was still very, very difficult for me those days. And my 3rd year, I was repeated again. The Village of Hope paid my school fees from 2001 till I completed medical school.
Village of Hope is 25 years now and currently houses over 1,000 rescued children. Fred Asari is Group Managing Director.
Our vision is to establish a world-class institution that provides the best of care for needy people, especially children. And so we just don't want to provide any care. We want to provide the best. We want to provide care comparable to the care provided for needy people, especially needy children all over the world.
If I lose all things I may possess, I know that I still have Jesus.
An anniversary ceremony was organized in appreciation of the organization's achievements. Chief of Gomoa Fete, Nana Abata II, who graced the occasion, expressed his continued support for the organization.
In my capacity as the Fetemahin and with assistance from Nananum, I want to assure the sponsors and management of Village of Hope of our continued support, which was first started by my predecessor, Nana Abriyabwa II.
Village of Hope has represented hope for many children like Francis Xavier who have grown to become useful to society, and they are hoping to put many more smiles on the faces of children who have lost hope. Judith Awachitando, JoyNews.
Let's talk about COVID-19 because Director of West African Center for Cell Biology of Infectious Pathogens, Professor Gordon Awandare, is warning that the fast mutating COVID-19 virus could necessitate multiple vaccinations after every 6 months. This is in spite of government's struggle to meet its target of inoculating 20 million people by the end of 2021. All of Ghana's 3 waves of COVID-19 have been driven by different mutations of the virus. As recent studies established that the available vaccines do not provide full protection against newer variants, Professor Awandare believes there may be a need for multiple vaccinations.
Because this virus is changing and quite rapidly, it means that the way we deal with it is going to be more similar to how we deal with influenza or flu, which is that every year or every few years, you have to revise the vaccine. You have to remake the vaccine to account for the variation in the virus that's in circulation. Every year, a new virus strain comes around, or every 2 years. Then you have to sort of edit your vaccine to match the new one. So we can envisage that for COVID-19, we're going to be doing the same thing, that every year or maybe even every 6 months, you may need to go and get a booster, you know.
Let's now check our status on COVID-19 in Ghana. And looking on the dashboard there, new cases now stand at 304. Active cases now over 4,000. It stands at 4,295. Confirmed cases now 125,565. Death toll keep rising. It's at 1,125. And you have recovery standing at 120,144. You also have the red inks in that map deepening and increasing. And Greater Accra region keeps leading, followed closely by the Ashanti region, and you have all the other regions following in that manner. So those red inks keeps increasing in that map there on your screens. Now, access to medical care in the country's prisons has become a very big challenge facing prison authorities in the country. Health officials at the prisons have to struggle in order to contain ailments of patients because there are no medical supplies and the infirmaries are usually in poor state. One of such facilities is the Anchor 4 prisons in Cape Coast. The infirmary was in a bad state and was without medicine to take care of patients in the prisons. Luckily, 5 Rotary clubs have teamed up to refurbish the infirmaries for the prisons and stock it with medical supplies to enable them take care of the health needs of the inmates. Assistant Director of the Anchor 4 prisons, Wilson Salah, says the facility needs a bigger infirmary to be able to attend to the health needs of the patients. Richard Kwejanyako has more in the following report.
The infirmary of the prison at Anchor 4 was next to nothing. No bed, no drugs to cater for the inmate, and generally, the structure is too small to serve the purpose it intends to serve. 5 Rotary clubs: Rotary Club Accra, Accra Airport, Accra Airport City, Accra Sunrise, and Cape Coast Central came together to donate pharmaceutical products, medical equipment, and personal protective equipment, and also hand over a refurbished infirmary to the Anchor 4 prisons. Assistant Director of the Anchor 4 prisons, Wilson Salah, expressed his happiness about the gesture and called on the public to support the prisons to get a bigger infirmary.
We are having almost 500 inmates here, and if many of them fall sick, you can imagine what you go through if the drugs are not here. Sometimes when they come and we tell them the drugs are not here, it is very sad. We feel for them because there's nothing we can do if the drugs are not there. So the intervention of the Rotary Club bringing us drugs is a very, 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 very good opportunity, and we are very happy to receive them to give us the drugs here.
Physician assistant who takes care of the facility, Emmanuel Fosu, was clothed with joy, but says if the conditions at the prisons are not tackled, there could be a rippling effect on the public.
That the prison is only but an extension of the larger society, and whatever sickness, condition that starts from here can be extended because we come to be in contact with the inmates and we come to the house, we are with our children and family. Our wives go to the market. Our children go to school with your children. So a problem solved elsewhere is a problem solved everywhere. In that manner, I will say, looking at the structure just behind me, you can see that it's uncompleted. If philanthropists and corporate world will come in to support us to finish this, I think the office space we're talking about, which is inadequate and is hampering on our delivery of healthcare to our inmates, will be solved somehow, even though it will not take anything away.
Handing over the facility and the items, Rotarian Rosalind Awovi Kudwaji noted the gesture was made upon an appeal by the prison officers to help refurbish the infirmary, and they responded to the call.
They indicated that they did not have medication, the infirmary needed refurbishment. So we came, we had a look, and indeed we felt that it was important for us as Rotary clubs to help not only our brothers who are unfortunately at the side of the law at this moment, but also the prison officers who help them. And we understand that we have about 500 inmates and the prison officers. So together with the Rotary clubs of Accra, Accra Sunrise, Accra Airport City, Cape Coast Central, and Accra Airport, we came together, put our resources together, and then we came, as you can see, we have refurbished the infirmary, we've given them the bed they asked for, we've given them the table they asked for, we've given them pharmaceutical products, as you can see.
The prison authorities are calling for more support in order to help the inmates. Richard Kwejonya, Joy News, Cape Coast.
We'll take a break on the Pulse and we are back with more. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to the Pulse. Now, 2 weeks after UK donated COVID-19 vaccines arrived in Ghana, the UK Minister for Africa, James Doddridge, has arrived in Accra for a 2-day visit to the country. Ghana's long-term prosperity is central to the UK-Ghana partnership, and security and stability is essential to the country's growth. Together, the UK and Ghana are partnering to tackle shared threats through a new ministerial security dialogue, law enforcement partnerships, and peer-to-peer training to strengthen the UK-Ghana security partnership. Mr. Doddridge will use his visit. He used his visit actually to announce a further £250,000 to fund 4 vital security and stability projects that would bolster Ghana's capability to combat threats. This funding is in addition to the existing £1 million of UK funding to support the country's counter-terrorism capability. Kojo Yankson sat down Mr. Doddridge for an interview that touched on various topics.
This is from our Conflict Stability and Security Fund, like the people of Ghana are concerned about the instability to the north of Ghana. Yeah. In fact, I've just come from meeting regional leaders from the north who've described the situation on the border, particularly with Burkina Faso and Togo, and very concerned about the instability in the Sahel, something we've been involved in, but it's not about simply waiting for problems to come down. It's about building greater stability for that region to make it more resilient from any problems coming from the further north. So James Heapy, the Minister for Defence, was here a few months ago. Only last week I was discussing the issues with your Minister of Defence. We were both in Lusaka, and it's very much around creating stability, and part of that is restoring a balance in terms of the economy. And I hope to come back and visit the north, not looking at things from a military and pure security viewpoint, but help create some of the underlying factors that will make the region more resilient. So talk about education of children, but also private sector investment, because actually private sector investor in the north creates value in 2 ways, the stability and the financial return and employment and so forth, compared to another investment in Accra.
Now, specifically, this money is to be spent on 4 different projects, and I've been I've been quite curious to understand what the end goal is, what you're hoping to achieve with these 4 projects. So, for example, looking at the northern border, which historically has been very porous, what are you hoping that this project what in particular are you hoping it will fix when it comes to our security arrangements at the northern border?
The border will always be porous. We're
Yeah.
not up for building a Mexican-US wall or a Berlin wall. We're not up for militarizing the area. That is not the solution. The solution, the recommended solution from the people in the north is around creating this stability, making the population more resistant to the possibility of moving to extremism. And that involves getting people jobs and money in their pockets, and looking at the holistic picture. We've seen the effects of climate change particularly strongly in the north of Ghana, with the excessive rainflows which have damaged crops, which have meant people are not going to eat as well in the coming year and will have less to invest. And that causes very, very big problems. But also working with regional neighbours and working with the Sahel G5, looking at the problem holistically. The GDP per capita of Ghana is $2,200 US. It's nearer 800 or thereabouts in the northern region, and that disparity has to change, particularly as Ghana grows out of poverty, going beyond aid. It's important that the regions, if we're considered a country themselves, would still be left behind. So there will always be regional disparities. Disparities in the UK, which we try to work on.
And that's why we part company on The Pulse this afternoon. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. There are a lot of stories you can read there. Missing pregnant woman in Takrade found at Axim. And there are also updates of all the developing stories when you go there. Many thanks for watching, and from me and the rest of the production team, happy Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Day.
Hi, this is Lexus Bill, host of Drive Time on Joy 99.7 FM. Listen, you don't have to worry if you miss Drive Time or Personality Profile. It's going to be live on our podcast page. Just log on to www.myjoyonline.com/podcast. You can listen to Drive Time, Personality Profile, and any other of your favorite shows on Joy FM on that page. You don't have to miss a show at all. Joy 99.7 FM, radio for discerning listeners.
Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university